So this is an interesting article from Niche Gamer. I love the thumbnail as well, because that game cost like what, $300 million, $350 million to make or something like that, and you don't really get to see all that investment when you compare it with the prequel. But apparently, yeah, like Sony confirmed they're not releasing major PS5 games for the entire next year. This is bewildering, isn't it? Because I remember when I grew up, I didn't have money to buy a console, right? Like I never played any of the Metal Gear Solid games. I missed on a lot of like Resident Evil 4. I never played the original. I played the remake because again, I genuinely couldn't afford the console, and there were a lot of cool games that were coming out on consoles, right? And that was like the only reason, well, one of the only reasons why you'd want to buy one, because you want to play the exclusives. And that was also like a major choice in why would you buy a PlayStation over an Xbox? Like there were the whole console wars, and you know people would insult each other online. They would say hateful things to each other. They would destroy the fabric of American society that the Democrats are trying to keep together. And that was then. But now, I legitimately don't understand. Like, why would you want to buy a Sony? Right? Why would you want to buy a PlayStation? Sorry. Like, what is the advantage? Like, first of all, computers. They have the ability that you can change hardware, so you can upgrade them, so that you don't have to like buy a new one. I don't see it. I genuinely don't see it. Yeah, like, can you guys figure it out? I think like maybe if you're a parent and you have a kid and you're like too busy to build up a new computer and you're just like throwing them a PlayStation, right? Or you're concerned that the kid may spend too much time online, you know, like go on all these websites and you know, like, okay, well, they can do the same if they have access to a PlayStation, but maybe they're not smart enough to figure it out. It's not as convenient as having a mouse, I don't know. And you're just giving them a PlayStation. But like, other than that, no, like, I genuinely can't figure out why anyone, I think you get Bloodborne and that's it, right? Like, Bloodborne is still not on PC. So that game is still a PlayStation exclusive. But besides Bloodborne, like there is just no advantage. It's just mind-boggling. I thought hard. I think like there is one actually. There is one advantage. The VR, like the PlayStation VR, is actually cheap. So if you want to experience VR, you just buy that, and it gives you, you know, a cheap VR experience, so you can see how it's like. But it's such a poor VR headset because it has like low frame rate and low resolution that it makes you sick. So a lot of people, they will buy a PlayStation VR, they get sick, and they think like, oh, I can't have VR because it gives me motion sickness. But if they actually try the more expensive model, if they try like a PC model for VR, they would say, oh wow, they actually don't get motion sickness. I wonder like how many of you actually knew that. I wonder how many of you knew that's a thing, because I had motion sickness from the original PlayStation. The thing is, like, you gotta keep on with it, right? It's kind of like getting your sea legs as a sailor. The first time you walk on a ship, if you have motion sickness, you're going to start puking and you're going to feel bad. But as the days go by, your body gets used to it, so you start adapting, and all of a sudden it's fine. It's the same with VR, right? Like, you start playing video games that require you to stand still, and then you start playing more and more motion intense games, and eventually you get to sit in VR for hours on end, and you don't have an issue. You still feel a little bit dizzy, but it's definitely like something that's tolerable. So like many people don't know that. But yeah, I definitely think like many people probably took a PlayStation VR and then they got motion sickness. But to be honest, like for the price of a VR compared to the price that you would get if you buy it on PC, it's a huge enough difference to warrant you getting a PlayStation. And I think if you want to play with someone else on the couch and on a big screen, right, like that may be another reason. But other than that, no, I just, like, Sony has gone to shit. It has gone to complete shit ever since it went woke. A lot of people just don't want to admit that going woke isn't the problem, but like it stifles innovation, it raises the cost for the product, and it also pisses off consumers. Like what do I mean with this? Well, it stifles innovation because the corporation becomes so bloated because you need to hire an army of diversity officers and you need to hire like an army of consultants and Getting a green light in this companies, like even if it's something really small that you want to implement, it has to go through this huge bureaucracy that didn't exist before. Like in 2010, the companies didn't have this level of bureaucracy. It stifles creativity because, again, like most people that are talented aren't woke. They're actually problematic. So they will go and they will find whatever they said on Twitter. You know, like they get Gina Carino'd, they get Ethan Van Sciver'd. It doesn't matter like what you contributed to the company before. If they find that you're not along with the program, you don't go to their diversity meetings, you don't waste your time with their bullshit, they're going to fire your ass, right? So they're like giving away talent in order to hire ideologically ingrained people. The army of consultants and the army of diversity officers that they hire costs money, so the cost of the product goes up. And of course, they're pissing off their own customers by the sass that they constantly give on Twitter, by the political takes that they constantly give, right? Like you can't push for politics, especially when they're divisive, because you don't have like 100% of the people voting Democrat. Like when that happens, then you can be political and you can support the Democrats, and that's fine. But given the fact that it's kind of like 50-50, right? You have like 50% Republicans, 50% Democrats. If you go out of your way to support any political movement, you're going to have a backlash. Not to mention, most gamers are right-wing. Like, you can go on almost any gaming forum, except for Reset Era, and you'll see that most gamers, like, overwhelmingly are right-wing. So, you're going out of your way in order to try to piss them off. So, you're diverting resources to anything else besides making the product cheaper and making the product better. And I keep seeing this on my streams. Like, if you look at Batman Arkham City, which came out decades ago, much better game, much better gameplay, much better story, cheaper, required fewer people to make, and that's not just like that game. That's not an outlier. That's normal. Like that's how things were back then. And yeah, I mean it's very concerning. What can I say? It's it got a company like Sony to be unable to make exclusives. I mean, Nintendo doesn't have this problem, and Nintendo isn't woke. That's what I'm basing my argument on. Xbox has the same problem, and that's woke. Again, you notice like the games in South Korea, they're much better. They're coming out like Stellar Blade, already like a huge phenomenon. And why? It's got a sexy chick and it's got violence, and people are already, it's like, please take my money. They don't know anything about the story. They don't talk about the villain. I don't even know who the fuck the villains are. I don't even know about the gameplay. All I know is that it's a hot chick and it's got violence. Take my money. That's how easy it is to make money in 2024, but like all these companies just refuse to do it. Let me know what you guys think though, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.